Teraz już powinno być. Teraz powinno być. Ja też sprawdzam. No widzę, że chyba jest. Zaraz będzie. Sprawdzamy. Chyba jest. Chyba w tej chwili jest. Tylko patrzę, czy dźwięk jest. No widzę, że chyba jest. Zaraz będzie. Sprawdzamy. Chyba jest. Chyba w tej chwili jest. Tylko patrzę, czy dźwięk jest. No widzę, że chyba jest. Zaraz będzie. Sprawdzamy. Chyba jest. Tylko patrzę. No widzę, że chyba jest. Zaraz będzie. Sprawdzamy. Powyżej okienka. Powyżej okienka. Wiesz, próbujemy to streamować według mojej listy międzynarodowej, także to będzie tak lecę równolegle tymi trzema. Tu.
Wezmę na górę. No. Z lewu.
No, so we have 3 minutes to the lecture. The devices, all devices are ready. We have our regular meeting, group lab meeting every week on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central European Time. It's quite known initiative for 8 years. Initiated in February 2012, and we keep this activity on without break. We have concerts at least once a month. Recently we returned to our regular activity in Solvay and just Chennai. Chennai is a beautiful city on the east of India, and Jagannathan Samat, shortly Yag, is originally from India, but he is a British citizen living in Europe for most of the time. But then he returned to India, and we have this presentation, remote presentation from Chennai. He will talk about his famous application, a famous program called DIN is noise. When he was living in Krakow, his program became known, popular, and that was quite interesting because the program was developed by him several times. So the recent version of the program is 47. When you are already on the website of Studio, you can find the link above my streaming. You can find a link to YouTube, and on YouTube Yak should be already present. He will stream on YouTube. We should have the contact with him through so-called Top Chat, part of YouTube. And I'm just checking. At the same time, I have Zoom open, and Zoom link is also on the website of the studio. So we have a choice either to go there or to the other places. I've got the question. Where's the link? Okay. Checking once more. There's several announcements about the event, about the presentation today, and on all we have the that's interesting. So yes, so we are waiting for him. In the meantime, I'm just trying to make you familiar. In the pandemic time, we keep our activity online, but recently our famous concert in Solvay, which were never crowded, was visited by several people, which seems that we are continuing our old series called No Audience Concerts. But the recent concert on Monday, 2 days ago, was quite interesting. We have also Jag with us, but we have also a duo, Leszek Wiśniowski and Antek Blumhoff, playing on bass clarinet and flute. All the program and the recording from the concert is available on the website you are visiting now. So when you go to the tab Konzerte, you should be there. That's quite interesting that we don't have Jak with us yet, but we have several solutions for the waiting time. Either you can go to this tab Konzerte. When you go there, then you should find last concert, 13th of July. You can get a full program. I hope that Jak didn't miss or didn't mix Eastern European time with Central European time. I was sending him this correction 2 times. It's a 1 hour difference. But as I said, in the meantime, we can get also some other material. I'm checking Piotr Madej, whether he is with me. Jesteś, Piotrusiu, ze mną? Jesteś. No właśnie widzę, że przełączamy się na polski język. Widzę, że Jaga nie ma na YouTubie, na tej stronie, którą podał. I ja się tak właśnie teraz obawiam, że chociaż wiesz, na tej stronie, na tym linku było dzisiaj przez cały dzień odmierzanie czasu, także to jest czas, który on wyznaczył. I tamten czas się skończył, także tutaj nie sądzę, żeby to była jakaś pomyłka z przesunięciem o 1 godzinę różnicy między jednym a drugim czasem.
Ja się zaraz podłączę.
Tak, nie mówiąc o tym, że był z nami w ostatnią środę i był z nami punktualnie, także znaczy może tak, no zaczął od niego się zaczął ten koncert w końcu. Aha, jest teraz, właśnie się włączył na Zooma. To ciekawe.
No to super.
No, tylko że ja z Zooma nie mam streamu. No, tego jakby nie przewidziałem. Ja mogę to zrobić, bo ja mogę przechwytywanie obrazu włączyć i wiadomo, że wtedy będzie to lecieć. Ale zaraz, poczekajmy chwilę. Jak? Are you with us? Yes, we are expecting you on YouTube.
Hello.
Hi, you have still the bird. You didn't shave it. Afterwards, don't worry. The image is perfect.
Shall I go to the YouTube now?
Yes, because I'm on our stream on the website of Studio. You can check me there. I'm go parallel now on Zoom and on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, going directly to the website of the studio, and I also put announcements of your lecture, of your presentation there, with the link to your channel. So when they visited the studio, they are redirected directly to YouTube, and we are waiting for you.
Yeah, I have to close Zoom because
that would be better. Yes, that would be much more better.
See you on the other side.
Exactly. Good luck, man. No to myślę, że możemy zostawić. Ja nawet chyba sobie wyłączę kamerkę, żeby nie obciążać za bardzo sieci.
Ja z kolei dźwięki wyłączę. Zresztą kamerkę
I wiesz, i ja na chwilę zostanę jeszcze na OSB, na tym, no gdyby, tak na wszelki wypadek, dopóki on się tam nie włączy. On się jeszcze nie włączał, czasami może trzeba odświeżyć ten jego YouTube'owy kanał. Proszę Państwa, czekamy. Jeżeli ktoś z Państwa obserwuje w tej chwili nas na stronie studia, no to proszę być czujny, bo połączyliśmy się już z Jagiem poprzez Zooma i on w tej chwili wchodzi na swój kanał na YouTubie. Czyli ten link, który Państwo macie na stronie studia, jest nadal aktualny. Ja go też sprawdzam równolegle. O, i właśnie w tym momencie Jak się loguje. Jest Jak. Także
so looks like I'm live here. Okay, so YouTube is not receiving enough video. Okay. Hello, folks.
aha.
How's my audio? Okay, so video looks like I'm live here. Okay, so YouTube is not receiving enough video. Okay. Hello, folks. How's my audio? Okay, so video looks like I'm live here. Like this feedback. Okay, so
No, to są te typowe sytuacje, proszę Państwa, w pętli.
let's begin this.
Ale widzę, że Jak panuje nad sytuacją. Graliśmy z nim w poniedziałek i było wszystko w porządku, także wiem na pewno, że on jako wytrawny programista, autor wielu innych też systemów radzi sobie. Programuje na 3 platformach, także jego program jest dostępny na Maca, na Windows i na Linuxa. Din is Noise to nazwa no, dajmy mu jeszcze chwileczkę czasu. Jeszcze momencik. Yes, yes, we hear you. We hear you very well.
Just a minute, folks. Just a couple of starting issues. Yeah. Maybe a few minutes and you could grab a drink or something. Just want to see if there's any chat showing up. Okay.
Jeszcze chwileczkę, proszę Państwa.
Okay, so
You are. I'm streaming to the website of studio that you are okay. You stream your voice, we see you, so that's okay. We were together before on Zoom, but now I hear you and I just monitor your speech on YouTube and everything is fine.
all right, so let's do this. Fine, so So, okay, three, two, one, go. All right. So, good evening, folks. My name is Raghunath Sampath. I'm calling you tonight from India, Chennai, India. And this is a sort of lecture for you know, the Music Academy in Krakow, and you know, kindly organized by Professor Marek Chołoniewski. And the title of the lecture, I just made it up at the last minute, so it's called Virtual Structures and Automatons, yeah, for Indiscriminate Sound. Okay, so that's like, I mean, normally, like, my friend in England, he's Tom Webster, he says, Jag, you're very sort of anti-academic, and you cannot give a presentation at Music Academy, so make your title really good. So there you go. That is good title. But then once I did the title, I realized that there's a lot of truth in that. It kind of gives me the, you know, about what my work has been over the years. Like, I've been working on this, and for keep sending anything. Okay, I think it's just buffering and unbuffering. I hope this is good enough. Okay, so I've been working on my software called Danish Noise for the last 14 years. I've told you about this in the concert as well, when I was supposed to play. And yeah, so the main idea is in this title, you know, virtual structures and automatons for indiscriminate sound. Okay, so virtual structures, in a structure, what is this thing called structure? So structure, you could think of it as like a physical structure, like a house or like a car or a, you know, like anything that's solid and anything that you could handle with your hands or kick like a ball. You know, all these are structures. Normally, you find that these structures are, you know, they have certain rules, and and they interact with the environment. Okay, so you know, so like for example, a ball, it's influenced by gravity, and it's engineered in such a way that it has a bladder inside. You fill it up with air and so on. So you know, it has its rules, right? So if there's no air, you can't kick the ball, and so on and so forth. So that's a structure, right? And virtual structure. So when we talk about virtual, what is virtual? Virtual is something that actually doesn't exist, right, in reality. So what could be virtual? Like all of mathematics, you could say, is virtual because you're always, you know, creating things, structures in your imagination, right? So you could say imaginary structures are virtual structures, right? So a theorem like a Pythagoras theorem is a virtual structure, right? It has its application with reality in the sense that it interacts with reality, but it's still a virtual structure. All of mathematics, you could say that. Now, software is also like that. Software, pure software, if it's not interacting very much with the world, right? I mean, the only way you interact with software is through the input devices, you know, and the way it interacts with you is through the output device, which is, you know, the screen, you know, projector, and so on and so forth, right? Televisions and screens, yeah. And the input devices are very many. Like you have, you know, the mouse and the keyboard is your fundamental input devices, and then you have other many input devices. In music, for example, you have the MIDI keyboard and many other devices, you know, that make music possible in the digital space. But we'll come to that later. So, you know, when I say that software is like a virtual structure, we're talking about something which is totally not real in the sense that it's virtual, right? it's but is it? But could I say that it's just mathematical? No, software is not mathematical. It uses maths, some kind of, you know, like it uses maths uh, but it's not mathematical because and because the computer actually it doesn't have any sort of it doesn't put any uh, limits in the sense that it doesn't ask you to do maths, for example, right? So software is not mathematics. Software, like I said, the preliminary for the concert, it's its own medium, yeah. And so, so my interest is has always been, you know, exploring these virtual structures. Like, yes, you need to use maths to create any virtual structure, like rules, basically. You don't even, not even maths. Like you could say, if something goes beyond this point, do that. Something goes below this point, do this, and so on. So that itself, so structure is, you could say, a collection of rules, right? And maths is a way to, I don't know, like, you know, create rules and investigate whether those rules are valid, you know, in whatever input and so on that you get, and so on and so forth. Like you can prove things and so on. So virtual structures there. So in software, it's like we are creating these, you know, virtual structures, right? This is a virtual structure, right? So it's hard to talk to people when you can't see them, you know. So I'm kind of struggling a bit, but hey, I actually prepared, so I'm not going to struggle for too long, right? Okay, so as I said, you know, the structure part is this, right? So you have it's totally virtual. There's no nothing equivalent to it in the real world. Right? That is what interests me. Right? I want to create things inside the computer which have no or very little parallel with what's going on in the real world. Because you know, software has always been a field where we've been trying to solve other people's problems. You know, including you know, in our case, musicians, right? So, but for me, I'm interested in software on its own terms, right? And and of course, I'm interested in music, you know, sound and so on. But I'm not confident enough to be like a musician, like somebody that plays the flute or the violin. Or there's a lot of weight of tradition, you know, like a lot of weight of tradition. I mean, how am I ever gonna, you know, be a better violinist or something like that? It just doesn't cross my mind. Nor can I be like a better mathematician than say, you know, anyone that's out there. Like I don't consider myself really a good mathematician for that matter. You know, like, maybe I'm just good in the sense of understanding the maths, but you know. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is that it's like, what's my job in this? You know, like where do I fit in? You know, where do I fit in? So that is one of the questions constantly for anyone that has this urge to do something creative, right? So so I'm like, I somehow kind of, you know, you could say that the moment I saw the computer and software, there's always been this sort of addiction, really, to make stuff, to actually create new stuff, and to see what the computer will do, you know. And then when it responds to you, then you're like, oh, okay, so maybe I can do this, and then see what it does in return, right? So this sort of a ping pong, this kind of back and forth thing is very powerful in computing, which is very unique, really. Like in a sense, it's like playing a musical instrument. So in the sense that the computer becomes a musical instrument, but then, you know, the computer is like an omni-purpose device that people underestimate it, in the sense that people don't really see it as a musical instrument. People want to get away from the computer, right? They want to say, I don't want to do music on the computer. I just use it because I have to use it. I need multiple tracks to record my songs and then mix them all together and then make a track and so on, right? So they're always using the computer for their purpose, you know, like they have an ideology, they have a need, and then they use the computer for that purpose. I have I have no, you know, no such need. Like, I mean, clean. Right? So basically, what yeah, like, so I matured in graphics because of that trajectory. First, you want to start drawing something on the screen, and then you're like excited and like, what can I draw more? Now I want to be able to draw interactively. Like I want to be able to choose if I want to draw a circle with a particular radius, all these things. So software is very much like that. It's like creating a painting. So like you start with one thing, they would just talk things in Polish, and so those interludes, and they're not talking in English. I can understand that. I'm not, I'm quite used to that. Like, sometimes the jokes don't translate well into English, right? So sometimes, anyway. So I had my notebook, and I was just doodling, and I was doodling in the sense I would draw a line and then split that line, and then split that line and split that line and split that line and split that line, split that line, and so on and so forth, right? And then when I was doing this, like when I was doing a very intense kind of drawing, eventually I realized that this looks a bit like a Mondrian sketch if you make it this way, make it rectangular and so on and so forth, like it looks like that. And then I went and saw like how Mondrian developed his art, and it was pretty much he did that by initially he was drawing trees, and then those tree branches kind of became more and more rectangular and occupied space, and they became the final abstraction that Mondrian is very famous for. So in the sense that I started similarly, like how you would just draw a line, which you could think of it as the trunk of a tree, it's coming out, and then subdividing, which is the branches, which is pretty kind of normal for us computer programmers, because we always have various data structures, which are like binary trees and so on, and so we do that sort of thing. So or the folder hierarchy, for example, in software, you have the folder, the root folder. From there, you have 3 folders, and then from in that folder you have 2 more, and in that 2 more, and so on and so forth, right? So you have all this. So that is one part of it. And then Mondrian is in a different sense. Very interesting that he drew trees and then converted into that. And trees are interesting themselves, as you know, because what they do is by subdividing branches, they are actually taking over the 3D space as much as they can, right? Effectively, they kind of, under the ground, the root system is also going this way, and then the leaves are going this way. So you have this whole spherical thing, and they are taking over the 3D space, basically, right? As much as possible. And Mondrian, by subdividing, he's actually subdividing the plane, and he's taking over the plane, right? So that is the thing with Mondrian. So I just want to show you very quickly this video. I hope it can come up. Okay, so I can turn this off, maybe. No. Oh, I need to bring this to this window. One second. Give me a second. So let me just let me just move that into this workspace, and now, whoa. Just a minute. Okay, so yeah, you can see that now, right? Maybe you can't see me, and is that important to see me? It's not important to see me. You can hear me at least. Okay, now we just want to first of all play this video for you just to show you like what's going on in Mondrian, right? So let's just play that video. So you can see how the trees are transforming. Slowly turning into abstraction, right? There are many videos like this, and this was a short and sweet one I picked for tonight. So doesn't come to his final painting. I hope it does, but we'll see. Yeah, I think it should. So you see how the trees, the branches, subdivision of the plane itself, right? There you go. See, that kind of, he moves away into this, right? Right, so there you go. That's it. Right? The end. All right, great. So, and, okay, what is this? All right, okay, this is OPS. Okay, I can close that. Oh, and that there. All right, that's beautiful. That's nice. Oh man, OBS is lovely software. Maybe I should donate some money to it. And yeah, it's very nice. Okay, So let's keep going, right? So that is one of the, you saw, that is the, and the same thing I got here. So you have the initial blank canvas here, and let me get to the, okay, so I need to push this as well. Sorry for this mess, but okay, so this guy goes to the next workspace, all right, because it likes, so I guess you can now see my mouse cursor. All right, excellent. So now I can minimize my OBS, and hopefully it will take my video camera and everything. All right, so I can minimize this guy. I can just a minute. Video capture composite tools off. Okay, great. So I can minimize this, and hopefully you can see this. So this is this is what is called Mondrian, right? So what's happening here is that initially you have this canvas, right? And this canvas, so this is something I kind of how to say, like arrived at the design. It all came to me, right? So it's the thing. When you're in the zone, in the right space or the zone, it just comes to you. You don't have to, and you know that it needs to be done because it's just coming to you. So why not do it? It's not forced. Nobody's asking you to do it. So it's just, you're there. It came to you, and you're putting it out. That's it. So anyway, that's enough of that ideology. But so what I thought was, okay, so I have this blank canvas, so why not bounce a ball, which is pretty much like this. You have these breakout games like we grew up with. So this bouncing a ball thing in a rectangle, the moment we see a rectangle, we want to bounce a ball in it, So that was the bouncing the ball thing. So you could just go to tools and add a bouncer. So I could click, drag, and release to launch a bouncer. So you could do that. Escape to stop. I'm going to reduce the octave. Let me just check if I got the sound right. Just give me 1 second. So let me just see if I got the sound right. Okay, so it looks like the sound is coming through. So that's all good. And yeah, the sound is good. All right, so then back to Tim, right? So what's happening is that right now I paused the ball, okay? Again, so this whole canvas right now is, you could say it's a virtual structure. It's got there's no real canvas. I'm not even saying it's a canvas. I'm not making it look like a canvas. I mean, if this was a VST, then people would expect me to make it look like a canvas, right? But it's not. It's got this sort of randomly generated color, which happens to be this nice, lovely violet or something. And then you have this ball, which is not really a ball. It's actually a small box with a small pointer. You could think of it as the nose, and then it has a trail, right? So all of these are virtual structures. Maybe in the sense that you can allude to it as a ball, because it's bouncing, but it's all abstract, you see. Like this is not a ball, and it's bouncing inside a box, which is not really a box. Not also a canvas, and so on and so forth. So the whole thing is a virtual structure, right? And we have layers of rules in virtual structure. So at one level we have this, at another level we have, okay, so what should I do when the ball hits the wall or the ceiling? So then I thought, okay, straightforward, trigger a note. A lot of instruments do things like that. So something hits something, they trigger a note, all right? And this is a very piano metaphor, right? So I've got nothing against the piano, but in the sense that I'm tired of that metaphor. But in the sense that I use it here, right? But the idea is that piano is a percussive instrument. So you hit it and something, a sound comes out, right? And this sound is percussive. It is tonal, but it is percussive, right? It's the user interface of the instrument, you could say, is percussive, right? And so okay, so you hit a wall, trigger a note. Okay, so what note should I trigger? Now that is an interesting question, right? So as I said, like I could trigger like just the notes, but then I thought, oh well, that is fine, but the computer can once again play any note, right? So you're like, okay, why can't I trigger any note? So in this sense, you have this sort of when it hits here, it will play the C octave above. When it hits here, it will play C, the middle C, and then this middle C above, and middle C here, and middle C here as well. So it's better to kind of show it to you. You see, so it's like so right now it's playing. This is middle C. That was middle C and octave out middle C. Maybe I can turn and turn the frequency display on, right? So you see that's middle C and the volume drops, right? So now you have this visualization of it, of the note that's been triggered, and the radius of the circle that you see is going to be the volume of the note, right? So there you go. So I can octave shift, right? So like this. So I've shifted the octave way down. So the interesting thing is now, okay, Mondrian subdivided this plane, so let's subdivide it. So let's say I put a subdivision there, right? So you can figure out how to use the software through my other videos. I just want to show you the concepts tonight, right? So just to inspire you to perhaps check it out, download an eval version and check it out, or if you're on Linux, you can download the whole thing and build it yourself and check. Alright, so anyway, so this is it. And now what it will do is when it hits this wall, it will play the note G. Alright, so it will play the note G. And if it hits this wall, right, this ceiling, it play the note B flat. So this sort of, you have to get used to this sort of orientation. So the ceiling is on this axis and the ceiling is on this axis, the x-axis, the horizontal axis, and the wall is on the vertical axis. So the note that will be triggered is based on whether you're hitting the wall or the ceiling. All right, so there you go. Yeah. So now you can delete that. You can delete this like this, and then maybe put it back on, right? So let's say I'm going to put it back on. And you see that you can actually subdivide it here, anywhere, right? So that is the thing. So it's that is the rule of the virtual structure. What sort of rules are we putting into practice? What are the rules of the game? So it's basically a game, right? So you can keep it here, right? Yeah. Okay. So, or I could actually move this around dynamically, right? So that can create interesting things. So I'll do that next. So there you go. Interesting, right? You see that? So the moment, one of the things Joyce is to create these rules and explore the rules. That's what the computer is so good for. Like somebody said on the chat about the maths, you're doing pencil and paper. When you're doing that, what happens is the experimentation is not very fast. But once you have a computer program, the experimentation is very, very fast, and you can actually play with it. It becomes more like a sport or a game. It has that. You have the joy of abstraction, but also you have the fidelity of reality, real interaction, like live, real time, like you're playing tennis or something like that. So you could interact it in different ways, and you can have a different style of interaction and so on. If I'm making sense. And now I can subdivide it further, right? So I can do like. So something like that, right? So this is possible, right? Okay, so that's okay. What else? So you have that, and then of course you can change the attack and the decay time of the ball, so reduce the decay time. So now at this point, for better visibility, I'm like, okay, you could say like, I'm sick of Mondrian. Let me remove the. See, this is the thing. So you just pitch an idea of Mondrian, and then you kind of pitch it, and then like, okay, now let's get very computational again, and then just have fun, So now this is better. So, yeah. So you can do that, right? Now, once you see that the ball is trapped in a box, you want to sort of like, move it away from one box, put it into a different box and so on, right? So for that, you could simply just go to tools and move the balls and you see that? Now that is sort of fine, but sometimes you just want the ball itself to kind of break the wall and go, right? So that can be interesting. So this is the thing with software. So you just keep once you kind of see something, then you want to keep expanding and so on, right? So now you could like say, okay, so I'm gonna turn this into a record, okay? So I'm gonna say made one record, okay, that's great. So what it's going to do now is whenever it hits a wall or a ceiling, except for the final walls and ceilings, it's going to break through and just keep going, right? So there we go. So and the breaker, the ball is red if it's a record, right? So sometimes if the boxes are too small, it's not going to break, right? So see that? Now it's gone in, right? I can select that. Why not speed it up now, right? I can speed up the ball, right? You see that? So that is possible, right? So now let's say, now this is fine, but then now you feel like, okay, walls are breaking, that's nice, but what if I want to put the walls back together? So you want like an opposite to a wrecker, which is called a healer. So let's create a healer, right? So I'm going to launch a healer. So now what it will do is whenever it passes through a slit, one of these breaks is called a slit, it would basically, heal it, all right? So you see that? interesting property is that once it heals all the slits in a box, it might get trapped in that box. Yeah. So let's get the other ball going as well. Yeah. Or if you want, you could just manually slit. You could manually like slit it like that, like that. You could do that. You could even make the slit slice really big or small, things like that you can do, right? So, all right. So that is all nice. Now, what I've deleted all the boxes. I can even make these balls kind of curve a bit. Yeah, something like that. So this is possible. Now, why not make it or make these like okay, the boxes we are dividing and so on by hand, or can't we automate it? That's where the automatons are coming in. Okay, already the automatons are active right now. So even it's still spinning, it's raring to go, it's revving the engines in a way, right? So and the trail kind of shows you where it's been in the past and so on. And so now we could basically, these are ball operations, will come to that next with the box operations. So I could say auto split box every second, pick a random box, split at nodes, and split horizontally. These are your default setups. So now I can just auto split the box, right? And it starts splitting, right? Right? So that, oh, okay, so you could like, okay, so I deleted that and then it starts splitting again, right? You can delete that and start splitting again, right? So interesting thing is what happens when I say, okay, so I'm not going to split at nodes anymore, split anywhere, I don't care, so it starts splitting. And now if you probably briefly bring back Mondrian, now you'll see that we're kind of, going where Mondrian was, who had been before, right? Only go where Mondrian had been before, right? So we have this thing going on. Now let's just is this music? Well. All right, so that's anywhere, right? So it's like I can do something like maybe stop this guy for a minute, stop this guy for a minute. I can also do things like I was inspired by the pachinko, right? In the sense, this is now reality, kind of intrudes, but to do a split box vertically horizontally into n boxes, right? So I can say, 8 boxes. Maybe I could do 16 boxes. Maybe. So let's see. Split box horizontally. See, that's like that. You see, this guy got trapped. Okay. Let's release him. Let's try and release him. All right. So put a manual slit there and gets released. Ah, trapped again. Trapped again. All right. So that sort of thing. I'm just rushing a bit because maybe I have a half an hour more. So this is there. I want to show you just wait. Okay, so let's close that a bit. Now I'm going to do is just go into the ball operations just to show you what it's really. I'm very pleased with the ball operations because by doing the ball operations, I also learned how to do noise. That I'll show you later. But so what we'll do is to click on this turn, and you'll see that it starts turning randomly, right? Because it's frozen right now. It's kind of, I'll release that ball. So it has that worm or ant-like behavior. All I'm doing is randomly turning and I'm interpolating, angular interpolation. So it has this nice smooth ant-like behavior, especially with the pointer, right? So maybe I can increase the trail. So just do, So this can be quite. So now let's say I call him. So he's now a healer, right? Or it could be a bouncer as well. But so I could kind of split the box, auto split the box, pick a random box. It's been a while since I used Moonream, so anyway, so pick a random box, pick the youngest box, alright? So, pick the box that has a ball, split anywhere. Now see what will happen is that this scheme will now trap this ball, alright? So you see what happens, let's see, yeah? So it's reached the minimum, right? So I've deleted the boxes, but still. It's trapped it there, right? See that? Now again. This is not artificial intelligence, which is quite hot right now, but it's just basic rules which gives you this emergent property of trapping that ball, right? Because what it does, it auto splits the box, picks a box that has the ball, and then it splits horizontally or vertically, and anywhere. So there's no note restriction. So it will basically go as close to the ball as possible, with the minimum split size being this. So you can reduce that minimum split size, let's say 4, and it would further subdivide it, right? So you can see that. It's kind of really goes close, right? So this sort of thing is possible, right? So. And we could really maybe wait. Let me turn that off. Right, turn this. Okay, so I'm going to increase the speed of this guy maybe, and it can be really interesting. So he's moving really fast. All right, he's moving very, very fast. And now let us reduce the every how many seconds. So let's say we reduce that to maybe 0.2 seconds or something. Then it will trap it really, really fast. Okay, that's what we want to see, right? So and turn this on. All right, so. So I'm deleting and I'm letting go, alright? So right? So this is nice, all right? So I can delete, I can get another attack, right? So because it's randomly generated, the first box, so it arrives at that ball wherever it may be, right? So it arrives at that. So there are various random Mondrian basically, right? So you have this sort of random Mondrian, generative Mondrian, if you will, you know, like, so you have this kind of thing going on, right? So now this ball is a bit trapped. I can move this ball into this box and still the, you know, the splitting operation is happening, right? So I can do this sort of thing, you know. This is fun, right? So okay, right? So I can paint this thing, right? And then it's kind of right, and then I could maybe turn that ball into a wrecker, right? So I could go in there and say like, okay, toggle wrecker, and there you go, and delete, and then maybe up unpause it. So he's going to escape. He's going to escape on his own, right? So he's escaping on his own right now, right? So I can still delete the boxes. So I'm giving a fresh start. right, so there's 6 viewers. Yeah, still there. 7. Hold on. Maybe that's me. And so, okay, so
Ja jestem z Państwem na żywo na stronie studia. No, nie mamy z Jagiem bezpośredniego połączenia, bo on streamuje bezpośrednio na stronę YouTube.
That's like Corona came to the school system. Wow. All right, I'm just gonna, not do too many jokes. Just go very quickly back to Delhi. This all looks good. People are still listening. I'll keep going if they want to stop. Maybe they can stop me, but I think Professor won't do that. He's very kind. He'll probably let me have a bit more.
Keep going, keep going. If you listen,
so just gonna maybe go for another half more hour. We want, you can go for like a drink break or a nature break or something,
whatever. You can go. You can make a 5 minutes break. We can make a. If you listen, if you follow my stream.
Here we are. So I want to show you the waveforms now, and we'll do that. I'm gonna just look at this pin is out here. This guy is out here. I'm gonna make myself slightly bigger there. Yeah. And what have we got? Oh boy. Oh, my back hurts. Okay. You can change that here. So here is sample level modulation.
Włączam się na chwileczkę, tylko Państwu uświadamiam, że w Chennai jest godzina za 15:03 w nocy, stąd to zmęczenie lekkie Jaga. I umawialiśmy się na 1,5 godziny, on już teraz powolutku zbliża się do 2 godziny. No to znikam na dalszym ciągu.
And then you could go there and right? And then I can modulate that range. So I could reduce the width, for example.
This
So
is
it's like
really
an
great.
accordion, yeah.
Really great.
Uh, okay, so now I can, let's say I snap the drones and maybe change the octave. So that sort of thing. So you could like be dynamically changing that, and all the drones, the pitches will change and so on. So I don't know how much time I've got, so I just try to close it. Maybe just one more kind of thing I can show you with noise, all right? Which is the noise that I showed you in Mondrian about the ball turning and the ball operations, the noise and ball operations. I can sort of use it here as well. So I can have this. Maybe I can kind of push this back off a little bit. Once again, I fall back to linear, not because it's much more fun with Beziers, but just to keep it simple. Sometimes the default settings are linear. And let's say I create a drone pendulum like this. Maybe I'll have a smaller drone pendulum, right? So just gonna maybe increase the spacing a bit. So I'll have a smaller drone pendulum for the same sort of width. You can now see what's going on. Yeah. Now I can drone to noise. So I can just this is like noise at a particular pitch. That kind of sounds weird, but it kind of can tell you another time how it works. But noise dial to a pitch, so it's proportional to the pitch, right? So whatever pitch it. So let's say I increase the octave here. So I do. Yeah. So some of these. Ah. So you see that some of these pitches are in the 2000 hertz range, so there's high frequency noise. And then depending upon the other pitches, right? So 65 here. So let's say I select this and maybe make it bigger. They're all going down, right? So it's proportional to pitch, right? So once again, you could animate this. And automate that if you want. So modulate it with maybe increase the width. Maybe BPM, increase the BPM. So yeah, So I'm gonna try and squeeze that in, right? So let's see.
The question
Bring
is,
up OBS. Make myself.
the question is
I'm still alive.
whether Yak hear us. I don't think so. I sent him many messages through Facebook, email, but not responding.
4 users still there.
So this is the small problem with the contact with Yak. He should join us. I'm also connected through Zoom all the time, so maybe he will remind that we started from Zoom.
So let's see.
Zoom. Yak, please join us on Zoom. Well, you know, we can tell that it's quite far. Chennai is quite far. It's 5 hours ahead. So here it's 3:15 in his place. He's getting tired. But we keep contact with him because this is completely incredible and unusual program. It's not really connected with anything I know, because when we compare with synthesis, resynthesis programs or some other complex programs, it's still not really accurate, or there's no really reference. What is quite important for you guys is that the system is available for Macintosh, for Windows and Linux. So you can really write. It's quite small. It doesn't need too much memory. So you can even try to load it on a Raspberry Pi, or to think about the program as a very special application for extraordinary use. Usually Yak performs live with the presentation going on. So this is like a concert presentation. This is the right form of his shows. So there's no really big difference between the concert, but when he performs in public, then it's more artworks, more dynamic activations. As I said, you can go and check his last performance on our concert, Sensor 720. It's very quite nice double voice going on. I know.
But rest assured that Bin has been tested very, very, very thoroughly over the years. So I would think it's most likely a sound problem. You hear it from the web browser. You need to close the web browser. Only Bin must be operational. Then you should possibly get some sound from Bin. Or you go to the settings screen and there will be the sound setup, and you can sort of change the sound card or something. This is very hard to support really. And in Linux, you're better off asking in the forum. You know, how to say this, because if you it should work out of the box. That's the idea, really. That's what the belief. Many other Linux people have installed it, so should work. I really wouldn't know without. If I was not next to you, it would be hard to point out why it's not working, because Linux is like that. So it's like, yeah, if you try other programs and they are working making sounds, maybe if you if you're building from the source code, are you using the evaluation? This is the question. So if you're building from source code, if you're able to absolutely build it correctly, then it should work. It should work in a sense. The reason I'm saying is that it's very well tested by many people. Many people have written to me like this. So So it should work. If you could persist with it a little bit, just try to see if your sound setup is fine, and then if you're building from source, then you know, so,
E, Proszę Państwa, no właśnie, jeżeli macie Państwo pytania, to,
I'll call it a night, and thank you for watching and listening. And,
to na stronie studia, tam jest link do Zooma, do naszego spotkania na Zoomie. Tam możemy się spotkać z Jagiem i tego adresu używamy również podczas naszych cotygodniowych spotkań. No, bardzo dziwne. Nie mamy się jak połączyć z Jagiem.
If your system is not a Linux system, if you're trying the evaluation, then why not just download the evaluation on Windows or Mac and just try it there? You know, because you're still trying the evaluation on Linux. The point of being on Linux is if you could build it from the source code, because you can even see my source code and understand what's going on and even change it. If you're just using the evaluation, then why Linux? Just try to do it on Windows or Mac. So, yeah, all right. Good night. Yeah? Thank you all. And yeah,
Żegnamy się. Do zobaczenia. Dobranoc. Cześć.